And welcome back to another season of Matt and Ben pregame show. I don't know. Do we have a name for this thing?
That's pretty well it.
It's telling me my connection's unstable, so if I drop out, let me know. Let me know if I'm freezing. Let's get this kicked off right away. Big news today. We have the inactives. We have Trey Sermon and Zach Moss. Both are out. Neither seem to be injured, so we have healthy scratches week one on some kind of high upside running backs that were drafted in your draft. Matt, what do you make of this when it comes to Trey Sermon not playing?
Yeah, they both obviously caught me off guard quite a bit. Sermon being out really boosts Raheem Mostert for the game today, especially against Detroit. They're likely going to be up, and they're going to be probably killing the clock. So big upside for Raheem Mostert. Not sure what to make of Sermon being out. I don't know if it's a conditioning or playbook issue or pass blocking.
I'm going to assume it's disciplinary. Maybe he broke curfew or something like that, or something we haven't heard of, because it's happening pretty quickly. The Zach Moss thing, I don't think is that big of a deal. He's not somebody that people were looking at starting. I mean, Trey Sermon was kind of on the fence, but makes Singletary a very good start. So where do you rank Devin Singletary now that Zach Moss is out? So initially you had him. I'll bring it up here in a second.
I think I had him right in the mid-30s for ranks. And I honestly would still like move him just inside the top 30. All this means to me is that Buffalo's just planning on passing all day. Like, they're not running the ball. Like, I don't think Singletary's that great of a runner still. So I think we both had Zach Moss just outside the top 30. So now Devin Singletary, you had him very close by. How much would you raise him from your 33 ranking now that he's the only guy in the backfield? Does he move up ahead of these guys? I can't really see who you're highlighting there. So
Phillip Lindsay.
Yeah, he's ahead of like he's going to be like maybe just ahead of like Chase Edmonds. So probably in like that 27 range, 26, 27 range.
Okay. So still not a must start, but a decent flex if you're looking for a flex start now that he's out.
Buffalo doesn't run the ball.
And they don't run the ball effectively. That's one of their problems.
Well, they don't even try half the time.
No. And again, if you want to check out our rankings, you can check them out at blueduckfantasy.com. Matt, let's get to the weather. Make sure that there is no issues with any of the games, and we don't have to sit any players that are going to be playing through a hurricane.
Today, we look pretty clear for any sort of weather issues. There shouldn't be any reason to sit anybody due to a weather concern that at this time for the forecast that I can see here. It looks it's all pretty clean.
Good news for week one. Nothing to deal with there. So let's talk about Thursday Night Football. Your thoughts on Antonio Brown's big game, a guy you don't believe in, Gronkowski's big game, Cooper's big game, and Lamb's big game, and the quarterbacks went off. It was a great game for fantasy for everyone but Mike Evans and basically the running backs.
Yeah, Cooper's big game, not a huge surprise. Like, I mean, Dallas threw over 60 times. He's going to get a lot of targets, a lot of talent there. Tampa has bad corners, at least the ones that were healthy. Didn't really surprise me. I mean, obviously I didn't pick him for quite as good a game as he had, but I was not surprised. CD also looked pretty good. Bucs side, I still fully expect Mike Evans to be the top wide receiver at the end of the day there, at the end of the year. Antonio Brown, I think, had 0 catches in the second half, if I'm not mistaken.
It sounds about right.
So the teams are going to catch on pretty quick. And I'm not a fan of Gronk, and he's old and slow. He can catch, and he's big, so it helps. But I'm still not buying Gronk as a starting tight end for myself.
So where would you rank him rest of the season? Like tight end 15 or like 13? Like he's close to the top 12?
Yeah, he's like in that 13 to 16 range.
I mean, I think he's probably closer to 10. We've had the injury to Irv Smith, so he probably takes his spot. He'd be around the Gesicki range for me because, I mean, the Dolphins last year used a lot of different tight ends as well, so it wasn't just Gesicki. But he's not getting into – I don't think I'd put him ahead of Big Bob Tunyon there in Green Bay. I think I'd keep him ahead. But Logan Thomas, a guy I don't really believe is going to do much this year. I have them probably pretty close.
Even with Curtis Samuel being out.
Well, I'm not talking this week. I'm just talking about the rest of the season.
Well, I know,
Curtis
but Samuel's out 3 weeks at least. So
yeah, 3 weeks isn't that long of a time for a tight end. I mean, you're not really looking to stream a tight end right now. You either have one that's better or you have Logan Thomas and you're fine with him. That's who you drafted. So not thinking short term, thinking more long term here. If you are watching and you do have a question, make sure to post it in the comments and we will answer it. Big question on everyone's mind: what to do with Saquon Barkley today? I have him in the Dynasty League. I am starting him. My other options, not overly deep, but like somebody like Melvin Gordon, I would have, and I'm still going with Saquon Barkley ahead of Melvin Gordon. I'm not overly worried. He might be on a pitch count, but I think he'll catch a lot of passes today too, because they'll be.
Yeah, I mean, if you have him, you're starting him. He's not outside of he's running back 14 for me today, which is low for Saquon Barkley. But yeah, I just didn't really trust how much they're going to play him. But I mean, someone like Melvin Gordon, of course, you're going to top 14, you're going to start him in any 2 running back league. So yeah, you're still starting him.
Yes, agreed. Any other player you want to talk about before we get to fighting over our rankings?
No, I'm good. Looks like there's
I do have some good news, Matt. The doctor is in the building. Dr. Clutch. What's up, guys? Football, yes. Finally, it's been a long off season. Football is back. Dr. Clutch is back. What a way to start off the stream. Let's get into the rankings versus number 1, Justin Herbert. As you know, I hate Justin Herbert. Hate him so much. I think he's not going to have a great season. So I have him in a tough matchup against Washington today at number 20. Matt, you have him at 10. Why don't you tell me on why he's that good and why he should be ahead of some of these other players?
Such as?
I'll pull it up in a second, but why don't you start talking?
Well, I mean, the weapons are – you can't argue the weapons. He's got a lot of weapons around him. I mean, I feel like there's going to be some regression from last year, but I mean, if you're looking at starting guys like Trevor Lawrence over him or, Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins, I mean, you probably got Roethlisberger ahead. No, that's not what you want to do.
Famous Jameis.
Famous Jameis, no.
What about your boy Baker?
No, I like Baker fine, but no, not compared to. I think Cleveland's going to try to run, but Washington's run defense is really good too. So there was last year. I guess we can't say too much about this year, but so I think they're going to be trying to air it out. Keenan Allen, really good. Mike Williams, I like. Eckler is a good receiving back. They're going to put up some numbers. Top 10. Justin Herbert, definitely not top 20. He's starting if he's on your team, you're starting him. Are you starting him for the team that I know you have him on?
Well, my other option is Trey Lance. So yes, I am starting him in that league. But I am open to trading him if anybody in the chat is interested. Let's go to number 2, and this is Tyson Williams that I have at 44. Matt, you have him at 27. Sell me.
There's nobody else.
So you don't believe Bell or Latavius will play.
What's the Freeman from Atlanta there? He's there too, apparently.
So you don't think any of them play? He gets.
Well, they might play, but they're gonna play 10 snaps. This guy's been pretty good during all the preseason. I think it's gonna be his backfield. I agree that Lamar's gonna run a lot more because of this whole situation, but if I've got him and I don't have 2 better options, he's just outside the top 24. I'm playing him if I have to. And yes, we are taking questions.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. What's up, guys? You taking lineup questions? That's what we're here for. We just do the rest of the stuff to kill time in between questions. So if you got a question, that's going to be top priority. Hit us up with the comments. Let us know the questions. We got one from Dustin Holland. Jacobs, the Williams fella from Denver, or Mike Davis flex?
Josh Jacobs.
I think it's probably Josh Jacobs. But Mike Davis probably isn't that far off for me, simply because I don't think.
Did you know that Josh Jacobs is a week 1 monster?
I wasn't aware of that.
He had
a matchup.
And it wasn't even yardage; it was touchdowns. I can pull it up. I had it. So just give me 1 second, and I will find it for you.
It's going to be Jacobs for me as well.
Yeah. Week 1 in 2019, 23 carries, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns, 24.3 points for it to be RB number 7. And last year against Carolina, 25 carries, 93 yards, 3 touchdowns, and was number 1 running back. So week 1 monster, Josh Jacobs.
And I'm sitting him. Got a question from Matt. Cool. One of them was Tyler Higbee or Gerald Everett. I had to make my team from the waivers, so slim pickings.
I think it's Higbee for me.
It's probably Higbee for me as well. We can always check our rankings, and you can always check them as well on BlueDuckFantasy.com.
Yeah, Higbee for both of us.
Higbee 12 and 13 versus Gerald Everett at 21-18.
Yeah, I mean, Everett, new system. You don't really know. Seattle doesn't feature the tight end a ton either.
No, they have at times, but they didn't at all last season.
No, and they got IU or Metcalf and Lockett. They like to feed.
Another question here, this time from Derek Riel. Brandon Ayuk, Brandon Cooks, or Corey Davis for PPR flex spot. Matt, I think you're going to go with Corey Davis here, aren't you?
I'm going to go Corey Davis, which is going to surprise everybody in this whole situation. I've always liked the talent. He had a good connection with Zach Wilson in preseason. There's not really a whole lot of other options there. But I like Brandon Cooks a lot too. I don't really like Ayuk, but I like Brandon Cooks a lot because, again, Houston's the same thing. They've got nobody else there.
Yeah, based on volume, I would be going Cooks, especially since it's a PPR play. Ayuk's got a good matchup, but he's got other competition like Debo and George Kittle. And
I mean, they're all close. I've got 23, 26, and 28 for my rankings on all 3 of those players.
Yeah. So I have Cooks the highest at 28. I have Ayuk at 30, and I have Corey Davis at 36. So I would go Cooks. Matt would go Corey Davis.
Yeah, I think you're going volume.
Right now, I have Higgins at flex. Should I consider any of these over him? Myles Gaskin, Javonte Williams, Debo, Chark, or Callaway? I don't think so.
I don't think so either, especially if this is PPR. If it's not, you could consider Gaskin maybe, but I would still go T. Higgins.
Yeah. If it's PPR for me, I don't think Dr. Clutch plays PPR if I remember correctly from last year. I like Debo. Right. This again, good matchup for Debo. Him and Ayuk, similar ranking for me this week. We will talk about Callaway, who I do like a lot more than you. No, stick with Higgins, Dr. Clutch. Final answer. Stroke my eagle. Blood is flowing this morning. The fook is wrong with Zeke. They just didn't really try to establish the running game on Thursday night, and it just became a shootout, so they didn't use him as much. But I saw a lot of Pollard out there too. And one of my worries with Zeke before the season started, was they made it very clear they were going to limit his carries to keep him healthy for the playoffs. That is a bad division. They should win the division. Washington could give them a run. But I think that what we saw against, the Super Bowl winning Bucs, the best team in the world, showed that they're a contender. So I think that they will limit him rest of the way. I think what you got to do now, if you have him, is wait for a big game and then try to sell him. You can't be trying to sell him now unless somebody's going to give you basically what you paid for at the draft for him. Matt, your take on Zeke?
I would buy Zeke right now. I think people are going to be worried about him, and I don't think that's going to be their game script for the rest of the year. They're not going to let Prescott throw it 60 times. They were down. Tampa's run defense is really good. Mike McCarthy does not like to run a ton, and we know that. But I would buy Zeke if I could, if the owner is selling low.
What would you pay? How much?
I mean, it just depends on. It's really hard to say what would you pay because you don't really know what your roster looks like. But
I would assume it'd be some type of 2-for-1.
Probably.
Okay, so pick a running back and wide receiver that you would take or that you would give away for Zeke.
I don't know, say I don't know. That's a really weird
you have question. It there. He doesn't know.
Well, it's such a strange question because you're trying to
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options.
I mean, you could go Lockett and
Carson.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Take these Seahawks. Give me Zeke.
Yeah, there you go.
Dr. Clutch has switched to PPR. Welcome to the PPR train. You're going to be playing Superflex in a year or two since that's the way everything's going. Yeah. Enjoy that. Big Oos, full PPR flex. Miles Sanders, Mike Davis, or Corey Davis. I think it's got to be one of the running backs for me. I know you like Corey Davis a lot, but I think it's probably going to be Miles Sanders.
It's going to be Miles Sanders for me. I like Corey Davis just fine. Again, you're saying I like him a lot. I've got him as wide receiver 26. So
it's really close for both of us between Mike Davis and Miles Sanders. I would think that, Mike Davis has the higher floor, but Miles Sanders definitely the higher ceiling. I have
this is running back 20 and 21 for me, like Sanders and Davis. So
19-22 for me. So
I go Sanders.
I'm fine with Sanders, and I'd be fine with going Davis as well. Stephen Grace, hopefully you said that right. Probably didn't. Hey, thanks for the help. Hopefully a fun one for you here. Pick 2, full point PPR. Josh Jacobs, the week 1 monster. Darrell Henderson, Saquon Barkley, or Tyson Williams. It's going to be Jacobs and Barkley for me, Matt. I don't think you're going to disagree with that.
I do not disagree with that. Barkley and Jacobs, for sure.
Appreciate the question, Stephen. A bit uncertain on RBs this week. I mean, when you got Barkley and a guy like Henderson and then Tyson Williams, and like those are 4 backs right there that you're just kind of like unsure of what they're going to do week 1. But Matt has made it very clear that Josh Jacobs is the greatest week 1 running back in the last 3 years. So you got to start him. Saquon Barkley, not so much. Remember that bust game he had against the Steelers last year. Dr. Clutch with a different question from a different league. This time a 10-man PPR also. Needs a flex. Julio, Josh Jacobs, Higgins, Mike Williams, Mostert, Sutton, and then Chanot. Other people in my league weren't looking for depth in the draft, apparently.
There's a lot of good options there, actually.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I'm going to say Julio, I guess.
I will not. I will say Raheem Mostert. Another week 1 beast, I think, maybe.
It's close. Like I like Jacobs, Julio, or with the news that Sermon's out. I like Mostert a lot more, but Jacobs, Julio, Mostert would be the rankings for me. But Julio, Jacobs, Mostert.
So what you should be looking to do in that league is you need to sell 2-for-1s there, Dr. Clutch. You need to, like, after Mostert has his big game this week, sell him. And I don't know, whichever wide receiver you want from this list, like Julio, Higgins, for like a top higher tier talent, because there's going to be some injuries. Some people are going to be looking
like Zeke.
What's that, Matt?
Like Zeke, Julio and Mostert for Zeke.
There you go. Get yourself some Zeke. Get rid of this depth. It's a little bit too much depth. Like you're picking between. I wouldn't put Chanot on this list. I don't know which Williams that is either, but I don't think there's a Williams that I would put on this list. Whether it's the Williams fella in Denver. Or Mike Williams. To me, it's Julio, Jacobs, Higgins, Mostert, and Sutton's fine as well. But yeah, you need to be trading some of that depth for some high-powered starters that are really going to get the blood flowing. Ryan Riel, Gaskin or Sanders for flex. Again, another very close one. As you can see, the rankings are on the screen. I have Gaskin's 18, Sanders 22. Matt, you have that a little bit flipped, 20 for Sanders, 22 for Gaskin.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
I like Gaskin, but I don't think you can go wrong with either.
I would go Sanders, but it's close. Absolutely. I believe that would probably be a standard league as well, for what that's worth.
Standard league would probably favor Myles Gaskin.
It does. It just makes it that much tighter for me. Like it's coin flip, but I would go Sanders.
Question from Dustin Holland once Matt stops talking. Malcolm Brown, Mark Ingram the second, or Rashad Penny. This is awful. Like, this is I'm assuming you're in a 14-team league. You've had some injuries because you drafted early. But this is, I mean, it's not Malcolm Brown and it's not Rashad Penny. I think you got to go with Mark Ingram in the hopes that Houston is relying on him week 1 as the back, because I don't think Malcolm Brown or Rashad Penny are going to see much of the football. Barring an injury that happens during the game, I think you got to gamble on Mark Ingram being the guy.
Honestly, none. I guess I'll agree with you and go Mark Ingram. Reluctantly.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dustin.
Dr. Clutch. Also on that team, I have McCaffrey, Gibson, Ridley, and Cooper, so I don't know how I got that depth. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's your first 4-round picks. Yeah. I guess you start 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers. I would probably look to sell high on Cooper and see if you can package him with somebody else to get a boost at wide receiver. At PPR, I like Ridley. Like you have possibly the RB1 and the wide receiver 1, and Gibson's good as well. So I look to upgrade the Cooper spot coming off his big game, which I'm not saying he won't have any more big games like that, but to get you somebody that's going to be more consistent week in, week out, like if you can do a Cooper and, I don't know, somebody for Devontae Adams, just look for somebody who had a bad game like a Zeke. Because, I mean, if you trade for Zeke, I guess Zeke is going to be your flex option, or Gibson every week, which is also fine.
we haven't seen his tight end yet, so maybe even like a Kelsey.
Could also upgrade the tight end. Stroke My Eagle is back. How horned up does Nyheim Hines make you this week? Not very.
I mean, in PPR, I think he's a fine play. He's always fine in that. They just gave him a big deal. I think his role is going to be bigger than people think.
Trying to find him here.
But it's more like if you're desperate, throw him in as a flex. He's not a top 25 running back by any means.
No, he's 31 for me, 36 for you. Yeah. So he's like, you'd have to have something have happened, like either a bad draft or you've had some injuries this week where you now can't start.
Or you're planning on starting Zach Moss or Trey Sermon.
I think you probably would have had Nyheim Hines starting ahead of him, unless you thought Trey Sermon was going to be the back week 1, and now you're like, oh, I don't have a back, and I need Nyheim Hines. Yeah, I mean, he's a borderline flex play there. Question from Matt, again, a different Matt, not the one who's answering the question. Sterling Shepard or Tyrell Williams also have Mooney. Ooh. So the thing about Mooney, and I have Allen Robinson way down my list because he's going up against the Rams secondary, and I can't think of his name. Matt, why don't you fill in? Jalen Ramsey. But Jalen Ramsey has also talked a lot of shit about Mooney, your number 2 wide receiver. He was posting it on Instagram that they were going to face off. So who does he cover? I assume he covers Robinson most of the game, which leaves Mooney open to hopefully do some damage. I like the upside of Mooney over these 2 other guys.
Yeah, he's number 1 for me out of these guys too. I'm just looking.
Shepard is last for me.
Pardon me?
Shepard is last of the 3 for me.
Yeah, I don't really know what to think of what's going to happen in New York. That'll be an interesting team to watch just to see what their offense looks like this year or this week. Sorry.
Mike is back and he's saying, "Let's rinse, boys. We're back." Claypool or Corey Davis PPR? I'll take Chase Claypool. Matt, do you have Corey Davis on this?
I probably do because not that high on Chase Claypool. Yes, I do by 1 spot. I just look. I've got Corey Davis by 1 spot over Chase Claypool.
It's not that close for me. It's a good 13 spots. Claypool.
Why do you think Pittsburgh's offense is going to do so well against Buffalo?
Because Buffalo's defense isn't very good.
Yeah, they are.
They get into high-scoring games all the time. Did you not watch any of their games last year?
That's
why they don't have a running game.
Tre'Davious White will be covering. I guess he'll probably be covering Deontay Johnson. I guess. But they still like a Juju to feed there too. Like there's a lot of. And Najee Harris. Yeah.
That's what we would both do, Matt. Go with Mooney for potential. Tyrell might be safer, but it's also a risk because who knows what that offense is going to look like. New quarterback, like. It could be, I can't think of his name, the rookie. Matt, what's his nickname?
The rookie. Oh, Daboud?
Damoud, yeah, it could be Damoud.
Daboud.
Could be a Damoud game. He could come out of the gates, Damoud just on fire. Let's get back to some verses as we wait for more questions. So we were just talking about Allen Robinson. I have him at 36. I am sitting him pretty much everywhere I have him. Matt, you have him at 10. You're not worried about Jalen Ramsey, the best corner in the game?
He's not playing against Jair Alexander. Let's be real. Anyhow.
Okay.
No, he's there. I don't. It's one of those situations I think they're just going to try to force it to him, and I think they're going to get him away from Ramsey as much as they can. And this could be a blowout where it's a garbage time thing. I'm not benching Allen Robinson in any league. I've got him.
Colin Popham has a question. Who is really going to grease the tip this week? I mean, I think you got to go with Raheem Mostert right now.
Yeah, that actually is a pretty good pick with the news this morning. Yes,
he's going to be greasing the tip this week for sure. Dustin Holland just says LaVisla.
All right then.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know what to make of that.
Stroke My Eagle. Smith from the Eags. That's Devonta Smith. Kenny Galladay, DJ Chark for 1 wide receiver spot, non-PPR. Which one lays down 10 ropes in their rinse RBIs afternoon? Or is that supposed to say ribs? Matt, you want to take this one and kind of answer?
In their rinse ribs the afternoon. I'm going to go Kenny Galladay. Like, I'll just answer the question. Kenny Galladay, I think, would be the one I'd pick out of that group. But so, yeah, I think that's going to be probably closer to like 4 to 5 ropes, probably not 10.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Yeah, good job, Matt, answering that question. Because here comes more from Dustin Holland. Laviska or Corey Davis flex? That's Corey Davis for
Corey
me.
Davis. You'll even pick Corey Davis. There you go.
Ryan Real has Sanders or Anderson for the flex. That's Robbie Anderson, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's the next comment. He's got Robbie Anderson clarified.
Yeah, Sanders or Robbie Anderson for the flex. I would go Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders, yeah.
And I'm assuming this is in a non-PPR league.
In the standard leagues, yeah, it's running back almost all of these.
I don't think they're called standard leagues anymore because it's no longer standard scoring.
Well, what do you call it then?
Just non-PPR? Yeah. Another question from Colin. Which underrated running back is going to full Jenky on his opponents this week? Matt, I think that one's aimed at you again. So which one?
You guys are going to make me choke on my drink here.
That's the whole point of this podcast is their live show is to get you to
choke.
Yep.
It's not nice.
I'm going through the list here so you can have a look.
I think, can we say Mostert again?
No, I don't think we're allowed to say the same name twice. So
okay. To me, I'll pick someone that I've got higher that you've got lower, just so it kind of seems a little better. We don't have too many running backs we disagree that much on anymore.
No, we only had the one.
Yeah. Mostert is the right answer, but we can't say him twice. So
no, them's the rules.
We both think Joe Mixon is underrated, so we'll say Joe Mixon.
Okay, Joe Mixon.
You got Joe Mixon higher than I do, which is surprising.
Well, yeah. You moved on from Mixon to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, so I have to take over the Mixon bandwagon. The Blue Ducks boys are back and they're buzzing. Thank you. We're about 27 minutes in. We're going to be going for another about 30 minutes. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. That's why we're here. We're here to answer your comments. It doesn't have to be just this week. It could be a dynasty question. It could be, rest of season question. As long as it's not a question about kickers, it will get answered.
Or even D.
No, any D question, Matt will answer. Matt is our D person.
We'll try.
Tell me why you love Adam Thielen. It's a good matchup, but he's old.
It's not dynasty. It's 1 week. He's going to get a lot of red zone targets. Once Irv Smith went down, Thielen moved up for me.
You don't believe in Chris Herndon? You're not on the Herndon hype train?
Not for week 1. I think that other tight end there, Conklin, is going to be his.
Ty Conklin.
Yeah. But even then, I would say Jefferson is obviously better, but Thielen will get red zone targets. It's a pretty good matchup. I would start Adam Thielen, no problem this week. You would not.
I would not. No. My hatred for Adam Thielen runs deep. Not a fan.
What did he do?
DJ Chark is somebody I would start well ahead of Adam Thielen. Matt, you would not. Are you worried that he's no longer the guy? It's now Marvin Jones and Laviska who are taking over from him?
Yeah, I've got to see a week or two of this Jacksonville offense to see where Lawrence is looking, if it's Laviska, if it's Chark, if it's Marvin Jones. I'm a little concerned that Marvin Jones is just going to be the guy for some reason. I don't really have any reason for that, but he just seems like he always just steals from the better players.
Yeah, he has his weeks, right? Every year he has 3 or 4 weeks where he's top 5 guy.
Yeah.
You got another question here from Stroke My Eagle. Do you think Darnell Henderson Jr., I'm pretty sure his name is Daryl, will spray his 2% all over the Bears this week? No, I don't think so. The Bears are a tough defense.
Yeah.
If they can't get the run game going, they'll just throw. He could see some action PPR, but I think they're going to probably try and see what they have with Sony Michel as well. So I think it's not the ideal situation to start him this week. Let him show you a good week where he does spray his 2% all over the bear, the team that he's playing. Then you start him next week after that.
I still think he's still in my top 24. So if you're in a 2-back league with 12 to 14 teams, chances are you're starting him.
That's not the question. The question: do you think he'll spray his 2% all over the?
Yeah,
Bears
he's not going to go like crazy. No, if that's what the expectation is with the 2% here, like no. But speaking of Sony Michel, and this is off topic, but it's weird that DraftKings was not going to count points for Sony Michel this week because he got traded to the Rams.
That happened so long ago. Like, why can't you just update that?
I thought that was odd. Unrelated. But yeah, you're looking at more like homogenized milk, maybe for Darrell Henderson this week.
I don't think the brand of milk is the issue here. I think it's just about the spraying. I think he might like spritz a little bit. Like, you know how much there is in like a little creamer? Like maybe just that's how much he gets out.
I think homogenized milk is a little thicker, so it's a little harder to spray. So that's why.
I don't think the consistency of the milk is what the milk is referring to here.
No, because if you have to spray it far. So if it's thicker, it won't spray very far.
Yeah, he won't be Spider-Manning this weekend.
Yeah, not 10 ropes, that's for sure.
Yeah, you'll have to fill me in on that one. Let's talk about somebody who I like a lot and you seem to hate, even though he's the only wide receiver that you can name that plays for the Saints, and that's Marquez Callaway. I'm at 21. Like, he's a really good start this week. I don't see who else they have or who else is going to take targets other than AK. Like, that's
the guy, Alvin Kamara. The whole offense will run through him today.
So Jameis is going to throw 35 times, 33 to Callaway, 33 to Kamara, like a handful to Callaway. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't if this is the situation with if you're the Packers and Callaway is the only one, like why not just throw Jair Alexander on him, who would shut him down completely? Callaway's nowhere near the talent Jair Alexander is. If Callaway does anything, it's because it's a blowout. Let's just say that.
And it very well should be. I don't think the Saints have much of a chance in this game.
It's only like a 3 or 4 point spread.
Yeah, again, week one with the spreads and the picks is usually the worst. Like, if you look at how accurate they are on those, they're usually so far off. I think the Packers win this one handily. I think this team has lost too much. I mean, they lost Thomas. You lost Drew Brees. Granted, Drew Brees wasn't really what he used to be last year. Jameis, I like Jameis, but is he going to throw that much to the running back, or is he going to try and, fit in into these windows? I guess, but I mean, they're probably going to throw 40 times in this game. And you can't expect more than 20, and that's even really high of those to go to Alvin Kamara.
No, so there's I understand, but I mean, I think he's gonna spread it around. There's gonna be some no names catching balls and things like that. Like, but it's just
little Jordan Humphrey. Are you going with that, or do you think that Juwan Johnson is going to be the tight end to own Troutman?
Before like 2, maybe 3 weeks ago today, I know who Marquez Callaway was.
Some people did. He was drafted in my Dynasty 10-man league, so some people had some hopes for him coming through as being the number 2 guy because Traquan hasn't done it in so many years, and, it's time for somebody else.
But, yeah, it's just not something that I wouldn't start him this week if I had him.
Ryan Riel asks, who would you rather have through the year, Herbert or Hurts? Hurts. Definitely Hurts.
Not definitely, but yes, Hurts. Close. Maybe he was going to offer you that trade. You screwed up there.
The what?
Maybe he was going to offer you that trade 1-for-1.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I'm giving him the correct advice. Is Herbert going to demand that his opponent put their glasses on? Matt, you're wearing your glasses, so I'll let you answer this one.
No, he's not going to be that good. That they have to put their glasses on.
New coach, new offensive coordinator. Hunter Henry's gone. They brought in Jared Cook to replace him.
Is Hunter Henry that big of a deal anymore? Like, I used to really like Hunter Henry, but he just was always injured and not doing things.
I mean, it's a weapon that they lose.
Yeah.
I just think that
Josh Palmer.
I think when you bring in a new coaching staff like that for a rookie quarterback, and this is now similar to what Baker did, right? First season with the one coaching staff. Well, not the first coaching staff, but the interim coaching staff. He did really well. They brought in a new coach and new offensive coordinator the next year. Sucked. New coach again the year after. So obviously the new coaches want to bring in their new system. So I am worried that it's not going to go as well as it did last year for Justin Herbert.
No, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of regression. Absolutely.
Any common waiver quarterbacks to pick up, or should I be rocking? You should be rocking with Hurts this week. Yeah, he should be rocking out with Hurts for sure. He's in my DFS. I don't know how high I have him, but he's definitely a must start. I have him in, so I have him top 6. There's absolutely no one on the waiver wire I'd be looking at to replace him until he gets benched, which could happen. I'm going to be rocking with him, no issues.
A lot of fantasy potential there.
Pardon me?
Lots of fantasy potential there with scrambling and everything. Yeah,
it's just a debate of can he win long enough, and will they trust him long enough if he's not winning? And you could end up not having a quarterback, but while you have him, while he's starting, you got to plug him in there.
Like, there's a reason Philly's been in the mix for like Deshaun Watson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, if he goes to Houston, fantastic. You can keep starting there.
Yeah.
Mike's got a question. All right, boys, let's get down to brass tacks. All right, who is your Jenkied start of the week? Brought to you by Clear Lake Lodge. I like how people just say that they're sponsoring the show. Matt, that's got part of your last name in it, so I'm assuming this is aimed at you. Who is your start of the week? Brought to you, of course, as always, by Clear Lake Lodging.
Didn't we already have somebody getting Jenkied? I believe that was already a question. I'm trying to remember my answer.
We had Grease the Tip.
No.
We had Horned Up.
Yeah, it was at 11:25.
Okay.
From Colin. So Mike must have missed it.
Full Jenky. Well, full Jenky and
I think that's the same idea.
It's not full Jenky. It's just the Jenky start of the week, brought to you by Clear Lake Lodging, as always.
Okay, well then, I mean, let's be a little bit more adventurous because, I mean, again, Mostert is an easy answer, but let's go.
Why is it not Corey Davis?
Because he's wide receiver 26, and that's just still not like must start.
You want to see the tight end rankings? Maybe you got a tight end that you want to have as your Jenky start of the week.
I don't think I have anybody like outrageous there either. Let's go. I'll pick Adam Thielen.
All right, Adam Thielen it is. Your Jenky start of the week, brought to you, as always, by Clear Lake Lodging. Derek Rurel asked, is Terrace Marshall about to hashtag FUQ the New York Jets today? I don't think so. No.
Yeah, week 1, I wouldn't start him.
No. Good player. Probably better for next year than he will be for this year, but I wouldn't put him in, except in that one dynasty league where I'm in a complete rebuild and have to start him this week. So outside of that, in any type of seasonal league, he should be on your bench. He is a stash for now, and once he starts doing it, then you start plugging him in. Ryan Real asked, Austin Hooper or Hunter Henry? Yuck. That's my first reaction to that. I think it's Hooper.
You just
I have
no
idea. I have no idea what the Patriots are going to do with these tight ends.
We've both got Henry higher, but I've got them like one spot apart. You got them 4. It depends on which. I mean, for floor purposes, I would go Hooper because you know more about what he's going to do.
Yeah, the Browns like to use multiple tight ends, so he's not going. Like, it's a similar situation for both of them, but there's hope, like there was last year, that Hooper would be better. Floor Hooper, yeah. Ceiling Henry. That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah.
Question from Ryan Garola: would you double up and start Joe Mixon and T. Higgins, or would you switch Higgins for Debo or Jacobs full PPR? Okay, so I personally think that game's going to be high scoring, so I got no issue starting both of those Bengals players. I wouldn't switch Higgins for Debo, although I'd like Debo's start. And as much as Matt has tried to convince me that Josh Jacobs hashtag FUQs all over his opponents in week 1, I'm still going with Mixon.
Yeah, I mean, I think you keep Mixon in for sure. It's just regardless of Higgins versus Jacobs. And I think I would go Jacobs.
Jacobs over Mixon because of the week 1 dominance that Jacobs has shown.
No, I'm keeping Mixon. I'm going Mixon and Jacobs. And not or. It's like extension coverage or not and.
So you want Mixon and Jacobs?
Yes.
I think this is a
It says, would you switch Higgins for Debo or Jacobs?
Oh. Full PPR. Yeah, I guess because of what you've told me about Josh Jacobs, I would do that.
You love Josh Jacobs. I'm really surprised that you have to be convinced.
Tough matchup. But I think the Ravens defense is a tough matchup.
It is.
I do like Josh Jacobs long term. I think if he does what you think he's going to do or what he has done in week 1, I think you're going to be laughing because people are going to be offering you a lot to get him. Okay, clap nuts. Do I start Gaskin, Myers, or LaVisca to flex full PPR? That's Gaskin. That's not close.
Yeah, Miles Gaskin, yeah.
Dustin Holland says, how do we feel about T. Higgins this week? I was like,
we're just talking about him. We both like him.
We both like him
a lot this year. Like, I think he's in the top 17, 18 this year.
Definitely top 20. The good news for him is Jamar Chase doesn't know how to catch an NFL football. It's very different from a college football because it doesn't have the stripes. So
I know that was so bizarre when I read that.
And I mean, I think maybe he's just setting himself up for a fantastic career in the CFL. But it's good news as he struggles to get acquainted that Higgins and even Boyd, even more so Boyd, because Higgins was always going to be good, but now Boyd gets that bump as well. So right now, Jamar Chase for me is at the bottom of the rankings, but not for Matt, who still has him at 31.
Yeah,
Matt,
I think I did that before I read that quote. So I would definitely bump him down like 10 spots because of that.
All right, this back to the comments. So last question about Higgins. Colin Popham's got another one. Which RB is going to thoroughly pound the ball up the middle, a la Matthew T. Jenkins at Gilbert Plains? I don't know what this means, so I'm going to leave. Matt, do you know what this means? Can you answer Colin's question here?
Well, I mean, at Gilbert Plains, this may be the question. I'm not too sure because I believe Gilbert Plains, I hit the pin on a par 3 so I almost got a hole in one. Maybe that's what he means. I don't know.
I'll go with James T. Robinson for the Jaguars is going to pound the ball up the middle of a pathetic Texans team over and over and over again. So I'll give James Robinson as my answer for that. Congratulations to anybody who traded for him in the offseason.
Yeah, I like that answer. I like Robinson.
We've talked a lot about Corey Davis, so we'll skip the fact that you love him. And we're going to talk about your love for Mike Williams. He's definitely not a week 1 monster. He's not Josh Jacobs in that category. He's like a week 13, 1 game a season monster. So why do you like him enough to flex him or start him in a 3 wide receiver format here?
Well, I mean, we've got Herbert quite far apart, so I'm not surprised that Williams is going to follow up with that being that far apart. I mean, I think they're going to put up points, and there's a lot of weapons there. Like Washington, again, fine defense. Mike Williams always a threat to score touchdowns, big touchdowns. He's like such a big body. I've just always liked the talent like that. Like it's.
If you were to build your all-time or like the last 5 years or whatever talent team that hasn't put up the numbers for you, outside of Mike Williams and Corey Davis at starting wide receiver, who else is filling out that team of talents you like that just haven't shown it often enough?
Sorry, repeat that question. You lost me.
So Mike Williams, a guy who you said you liked the talent, said the same thing about Corey Davis. A couple guys whose talent you like that haven't lived up to expectations. If you were to fill out a starting lineup with 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a quarterback, don't worry about the flex, who fills out this I like the talent, still hasn't done it team? Because these are great players for people to target that are cheap, that can finally hit and produce. I'll give you some time to think about it while we get to this comment.
Corey Davis kind of did it last year a little bit.
What's that?
Corey Davis did it a little bit last year.
I don't even think he had 1,000 yards. So we got a question from Ryan. Since you guys like Josh Jacobs over Higgins in the flex, would you start Higgins or around as my wide receiver? It looks like he got cut off. I think more is coming. So, Matt, you got more time to think about who are your underperforming running backs. Around
might be an autocorrect too. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Around. A-Rob. Yes, I would absolutely start T. Higgins over Allen Robinson. Matt, I don't think you'll agree with that.
No, I'd keep Robinson there.
Higgins for me.
I mean, yeah, if you're concerned about Jalen Ramsey, then sure. I mean, it's not like a huge difference.
Are you not concerned about Andy Dalton?
Yeah, I am, but again, I think it's going to be a blowout. I'm banking more on like garbage time, just chop it up to Robinson there.
Okay, you're predicting a blowout, a garbage time game. Are you going to predict Justin Fields sees the field today in this blowout?
No, I wouldn't put him in against the Rams D.
Even in the fourth when it's a blowout and they're sitting their starters?
I don't think the Rams will be pulling players. It's they're going to want to be establish themselves as a top D and
up 50-10 in the fourth quarter. They're not pulling any players.
Well, they might if it's like that big. Yes.
All right. We have two more that I want to talk about, and then we'll get into doing some other stuff. Because we're running out of time. We got like 10 minutes left. Why are you so down on Devontae Parker this week? The man in the back. I put up his jersey for a reason. No Will Fuller. Waddle's a rookie. 2 a time. This is the week. Why are you so down on him?
Because, I think he's the third option, or maybe even fourth if you could include Mike Gesicki.
Fourth option. Behind who? You have him behind Gesicki, Waddle, and what, Gaskin?
Yeah, okay. I guess, yeah, Fuller's out, so.
He's the number one option this week. Number one option.
I don't know. I just never really liked him, so he's kind of like he's your Adam Thielen for me, I guess.
Sure. Last one, Sammy Week 1 Watkins. I got him as a borderline start or a start in 3 wide receiver formats. It's week 1. It's Sammy Watkins. Who else do they have? They've lost every single one of their running backs.
Yeah.
They've lost 2 wide receivers. They'd lose Boykin and Bateman.
Does Boykin even count?
I guess not. But do any of those wide receivers even count? Does Hollywood Brown even count?
I think Hollywood Brown counts. Hollywood Brown's another week 1 guy. Like,
I don't think
so. Come on. Remember what he did against the the Dolphins there in his rookie year?
Yeah, 1 time. That doesn't make you if you've done it in 50% of the time, you're not a week 1 guy. The Josh Jacobs size was impressive. You've done it every year, or at least 2 of 3. 2 of 3 I'll count. But 1 of 2? No, that's like flip a coin, he's gonna do it. No. We got a question here from Tug Speedbin. Hey guys, great show. Oh my god, thank you so much, Tug. I like how that wasn't a vulgar comment.
That was a weird tone.
Innuendo is that I didn't understand. All right, it is time for Chat and Matt to make my survivor pick of the day. So basically, if you don't know what survivor is when it comes to football, it's not fantasy. It's you pick a team. You can only pick them once per year, and if they lose, you're out. So Matt, who is your lock of the week? Chat, if you guys want to name some teams who you think are the matchups to go for, I will pick whatever you say, because right now I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selected.
I just said I think this game's going to be a blowout. Give me the Rams.
The Rams is leading. Let's see if we get any comments on who should be the survivor pick for me in week 1. The Rams
is leading home. What? Like that's who most people have?
I don't know what most people have. I don't get to see other people's picks. That's what kind of pools are you playing where you get to see everyone's picks and then you make your own?
It's been forever since I played a survivor pool.
Well, we got the Rams counting down. Saving the Rams over Chicago.
Just seeing if there's anybody else. Like,
I was thinking about San Fran, but they're West Coast team traveling to the East Coast for early game, which is never good.
I always like taking home teams in those too.
Yeah, and I mean, I had the worst possible scenario with Jacksonville. Road team.
Carolina you could go with. I mean, they're at home to the Jets.
And that's a revenge game for Sammy D.
Yeah.
That's why we're starting him in that 1 league over Kirk Cousins, who also has a good matchup. But revenge, number 1. Revenge is always number 1.
Yeah, I don't mind Carolina either. Like, Carolina is obviously a worse team than the Rams if you want to try to save. But, I mean, with those Dr. Clutch does not like the Rams pick, obviously.
So we got, is Pitsy going to bend over and sprinkle his seed on the Eagles? I think so. I think he might be the most talked about player come like Monday on any like fantasy sports show. They're going to be talking about Kyle Pitts and what he is, because he's not a tight end. He's a wide receiver who's in the tight end spot. So yeah, I do think that he sprinkles his seed over the Eagles this afternoon. I think that's a high scoring matchup. I like that for DFS.
It'll be a high scoring matchup for sure. I don't know if he's going to be like, depending on, again, your definition of sprinkle his seed, but I still think like obviously Kels is going to be better than him. I'm working on saying Kels.
We're not like, I mean, there are levels, but like having a good game where you're going to get, a score in 80 yards or 100 yards or something, that to me, that's
he might get that. I really like Calvin Ridley that game.
I do as well. And I think I had him in DFS unless I moved him out. I kept moving things around. I did it like 20 minutes ago before the show started. Trish Stradish is on. Hey, Trish. Incredible to have the Blue Duck pre-show back in business. Is Saquon planning to flex his quads today? Hopefully, but
they did say that he's probably not going to be restricted. Like that could be coach speak though. I still have him in. He's outside the top 10 running backs this week.
And Dr. Clutch is saying the Bears suck by pointing down. He's definitely not saying bear down. He's saying Bears are one of the worst teams in the league. They're at the floor. Definitely not a Chicago fan, as you can tell by his logo. So good to see him coming around on the Bears sucking because Matt is a big Packers fan and hates the Bears.
Yeah, the other with those Survivor picks, like I mean, when I did play them, I used to like going with like a really solid team first week just because you don't know. Like, I mean, you don't know what for sure the Panthers are going to be with Sam Darnold there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like I would go with Kansas City if they were playing a little bit worse of a team than the Browns. Teams like that, I like to go with really solid.
Me and Matt have had a rivalry about the Packers and Bears for like 2 years now. Ever since he called you Drew Carey. That's what started this.
I don't think that was him that called me Drew Carey.
Hey, he's the only one who's been around for 2 years. Appreciate you, Dr. Clutch. Matt, why don't you tell us who's going to win the MVP this year?
Well, you got it right last year, so I think we should start with you.
I don't know this year. I don't know who to pick because I don't want to take a quarterback.
I mean, it probably will be a quarterback.
Yeah, let's go with Josh Allen then.
Let's go with, for me, I mean, I don't think Rodgers will win it twice in a row, even if he did. I think he'll be in their competition. I think he might even deserve it, but
actually, you know what? I'm going to change my pick to Lamar Jackson.
Okay, that's a good one. I like. Don't mind that one.
With all the injuries on running back, that means that Lamar legs. Is that what they call him?
I've never heard that. Maybe
Lamar legs is going to be using those all year. Over 1,000 yards again. Probably double-digit touchdowns on the ground, 20 to 30 in the air, taking them to the playoffs.
I'll take a long shot. I'll go Kyler Murray.
Okay. Trish Stratus got a question. Is Tom Brady the front runner for People Magazine's Man of the Year?
I doubt it. I mean, that's usually an actor, I think.
I don't know how. Like, what's the year? Like, does it start before the NFL season? Because if he just won the Super Bowl, it's going to really depend on what he does for the rest of the season. Very impressive what he did going to Tampa Bay and winning it. But I think that there's probably some like science people, especially with COVID, that maybe would be more deserving of this. I don't know.
I don't know the criteria between People's Magazine. Sorry.
Yeah, if you had said Sportsman of the Year, like maybe.
Yeah, it could be.
But yeah. Dr. Clutch, going to be time to watch football. See you guys next week.
Yep.
We're wrapping it up right now, too. We're about 5 minutes to start of the games. I have to switch everything up to get the TVs going. So, Matt, your Super Bowl winner. Bucks will repeat. Matt agrees with me.
Terrible. Bucks are not going to repeat.
Bucks repeat. They brought the whole team back. How could they not repeat? Anyways, that is going to wrap it up for us today. Matt, anything to say before we head out and watch some football? It's week 1. Let's go.
It's week 1. It's exciting. Glad to have everybody back.
Wally says the Falcons are going to win the Super Bowl, or he says to pick them for Survivor. I think we already went with the Rams, but thanks for the comment, Waddy.
I think he's picking them for Super Bowl.
I mean, we've just got Trish Stratus' juices going, so
all right.
Good job to us. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
That's it. See you next week, same time.